6 years ago, at the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly, the Cuban-American poet Richard Blanco was invited to speak. And at that event, he read a poem which we're going to hear today. For today, we've edited it very slightly. Blanco, the poet, uses a few racial epithets in the poem to make a point about racism and prejudice. But we will hear the poem without them today, since it did not feel right to speak those words in this sacred space. So this is Richard Blanco's Complaint of El Rio Grande, read today by Pratibha Queen. Thank you, Pratibha.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Richard Blanco. Complaint of El Rio Grande. I was meant for all things to meet, to make the clouds praise in the mirror of my waters, to be home to fallen rain that finds its way to me, to turn eons of loveless rock into love-sick pebbles and carry them as humble gifts back to the sea, which brings its life back to me. I felt the sun flare and praised each star flocked about the moon long before you did. I've breathed the air you'll never breathe. Listen to songbirds before you could speak their names, before you dug your oars in me, before you created the gods that created you. Then countries, your invention, maps jigsawing the world into colored shapes, caged in bold lines to say, you are here, not there. You're this, not that. To say yellow isn't red, red isn't black, black is not white. To say mine, not ours. To say war, and to believe life's worth is relative. You named me Big River. You drew me blue, thick to divide. You split me in two, half of me us, the other half them. But I wasn't meant to drown children, to hear their mother's cries, never meant to be your geography, a line, a border, a murderer. I was meant for all things to meet. The mirrored clouds, the sun's tingle, bird songs, and the quiet moon, the wind and its dust, the rush of mountain rain, and us. Blood that runs in you is water flowing in mine, both life. The truth we know. Be one in one another.
"45 years ago, in 1980, the water communion was new. Two Unitarian Universalist women created a new ritual that, in their words, spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet. One of those women was Carolyn McDade, the author of our hymn, Spirit of Life. The other was Lucille Shuck Longview, who was the primary author of a statement with enormous impact about women and religion in our Unitarian Universalist denomination. Those two created this ritual, which then spread throughout Unitarian Universalism and became known as the water communion. It was intended to honor and reinforce the shift in our faith away from patriarchy to a more expansive welcome for all people, especially women who had for so long been relegated to a lesser place, even in our free and rather progressive religious movement. So the first water communion, these women invited everybody assembled to gather around a common bowl, a sign of the equality and dignity of all people. And participants brought forth water from around the continent, from the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, from rain that had fallen in the state of Maryland, from the Assiniboine River in Winnipeg, Canada, and from the Rio Grande. Today, 45 years on, we gather to celebrate our own water communion. Much has changed since then, but are we not still in need of questioning every authority outside ourselves that dares to treat anyone as unworthy of love, unworthy of safety and protection and dignity? Are we not still in need of reclaiming our deep strength and connection to one another in these times? So let us observe our own water communion as a ritual of hope and liberation today. And now, let us extinguish the chalice with this blessing adapted from Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we have gathered to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. And though we extinguish this chalice, let the spirit of the great turning burn bright in our hearts, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones. May we sense it calling our name, and may we rise to meet its call. So may it be. Go in peace. Amen, and blessed be.